Alright, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Just leaving the gym. You know how it goes. We went at 9:30 this morning, so not too early, but it's a good time. There was 9:30 on a Sunday morning. There's not very many people, which is nice, but yeah. So anyways, we listened to a interview with Luke Belmar on First Things Thirst podcast, which was pretty good. Luke Belmar is really cool. If you don't know about him, you should check him out. He has a little community called, well, it's not little, but it's a community called Capital Club, and it seems really cool. He's talked about in the podcast how there's like a high ticket community for people, for businesses or business owners that do over, like, I think it was over $1 million in sales or something, or maybe it was 10 figures and up. I don't know, but it's like $15,000 a year. Or there's one for smaller creators that's $1 a day. And he was also talking about, like, it's so important just to get access to rooms with other people on higher levels. And he explained it like how life is a video game and it's pay to win. Life is pay to win. It's just like a video game. Just like, think about all the pay-to-win video games, right? And see, what could I use as an example? I remember when I used to play with my friend Quevin, and we used to play Call of Duty, and I had a Call of Duty channel. If you wanted to check it out, it's called Duty Bros. We used to post on there all the time. But stop playing video games now. But anyways, when we used to play Call of Duty, and people used to have tracer round guns, and you could only, well, at a time, you could only get tracer rounds by buying $20 bundles in the store. And tracer rounds are basically, if you don't know, they're just like colored bullets. So when you shot a gun, it would have the bullets that came out of it, it would leave like colored streaks in the air, basically. And we would always mess around and say like, oh, it has tracer rounds, so that's why it would two-shot us. And we would say that it was pay to win. It really wasn't. It really didn't affect the damage, but it seemed like it did. So we would kind of just have fun with it and say people were pay to win. So like, as an example, say you buy a tracer round pack in the store for $20 and it does more damage where you can two-shot people instead of three-shot people like everyone else because you pay to win. And life is just like that. Luke Belmar was explaining how, like, if you put money into something, that's the same thing. It goes back to the Think and Grow Rich book that I was listening to, and how he was talking about how people who or things that people pay for, people are a lot more likely to stick through the course. Or like, say they bought a course, they're a lot more likely to finish the course and use what they got out of it because they had something invested into it. They had money, and they also put their time in, which you also have to put your time into a free course, but people are much less likely to put their time into something that only requires their time. And so that was interesting to think about. And I think my neighbor in his motorhome just drove by. And so yeah, so life is pay to win. And he was saying, because he was from, where did he say he was from? Somewhere in South America. And he was saying that basically he knew a lot of people down there that were doctors, and they would do in-home, like they would go to the houses of the rich people to do checkups and blood work and stuff. And he knew the doctors, he was friends with the doctors, so he would go with the doctors to these rich people's houses, follow them into their houses just to get access to the rooms, and just start talking with the rich people, so then they would know him, and then maybe he would provide value to them, which would open another door where he could provide more value and maybe end up getting value back, or like they're making a connection with him or giving them a business opportunity, which is another thing that I'm learning. A whole bunch of people, basically everyone that I watched, like every video on entrepreneurship and business and stuff, you have to provide value to people, and they will end up providing value to you. And it's like such a no-brainer, advice. Like, obviously you have to provide value to people. That's how you get paid. Is like, if you go to a job, you're providing value to your employer, your boss, because you're doing something that they don't have to do, or that the person who owns the business doesn't have to do, because whatever you may be doing. But if you provide value to these rich people, and because they have so many people that want to be around them, because they have the connections and they have the money and they have the knowledge. But if you provide them with value without wanting, like, if you don't expect something back from them, they're much more likely to provide value back to you. And it's just like a whole cycle. And basically, I was watching a different Luke Belmar video the other day, and he was saying like how to start a business by, maybe it was Alex Hormozy. He was talking about you have to have a lead generator, like a lead something. I forget what it was called, but you provide value for free on 2 levels. So, and he gave the example of like fitness. So he said, or health, and he said, okay, so you make these exercise plans for people, say for men at this weight and with this progress in mind, and you make it one time, and then you can give it out to people as many times as you want for free. And then you make another thing on like how to eat, and give them recipes and steps on how to cook it and clean it and instructions. And then the third step is like, oh, you need somewhere to store your food so that you don't get the jelly stuff at the bottom of your chicken containers that's nasty. Oh, I can sell you these containers, and then that's when you make money. So that was really interesting. That made a lot of sense. So just provide value to people, and life is pay to win. So anything, if you're interested in it, and this is one thing I was thinking about too, because all these courses out here, like the good courses that you hear a lot about, they're expensive. So I was like, well, wait a minute. If you had someone, and this is kind of tough because no one that I know is really interested in this stuff, but if you had someone to go in and split the cost of the course with, and you learn it with them, and you're 2 minds working on the same thing, doing the same course, you split the cost of it, and you're working together on it, you're going to be much more likely to get something out of the course because you're doing it with someone. They can hold you accountable. You can learn things from them. You look at it from different perspectives, and it doesn't cost as much. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's genius. Because all these people, these entrepreneur people, they also talk about like spending money on education because, college is so expensive. But why? And you learn basic stuff there. So why wouldn't you invest in yourself, in your education, on these other courses that teach you real skills in the real world towards your, they call it your entrepreneurship degree. So that was like, okay, so you need a network, you need knowledge so that you can provide value to someone with. And the last thing I'll mention that Luke Belmar was talking about in the interview I watched today was that you need 3 different relationships to go anywhere in life. You need a mentor, like someone you can learn from. You need an equal, someone that you're learning with that's on your same level. And then you need mentees, which are someone that you can teach. Because his saying is plan, implement, and iterate. Or it might not be implement, but it's a different word. Like, so you plan something, you do it, and then you teach it, and then you do it over and over again, and that's how you master the subject. So a lot of value in that video, but if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Join the Discord down in the link in the description. It's a community out there, and just talk about a bunch of things. And subscribe and share the video with a friend, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.